What's up, booktube? Welcome back. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'm doing the Accomplished Woman book tag. So this tag was created by Connie Reeds, but I saw it over on Annie's Book Nook, so I'll leave both other videos linked down below for you guys to go and check out. But this tag is inspired by Pride and Prejudice, and more specifically the scene where they're all talking about what makes an accomplished woman. So the creator of this tag made up a whole bunch of bookish prompts inspired by all of the requirements to be an accomplished woman, which I think is just so much fun. Now, I don't identify as a woman, I'm non-binary, but I still wanted to do this tag because I love Pride and Prejudice so much. I haven't actually read the book, but the movie with Keira Knightley is one of my favorite movies of all time. I just adore that movie. I do want to read the book one day, I just don't read classics really, so I do have it. I have a really pretty edition actually. Like, look how beautiful this edition is. It's all like pink on the inside, and little quote on the inside flap here says, "You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and I love you." But this cover is just so pretty. I've had this for years. I think I got this when I was in elementary school. I also have a Jane Eyre one, which is purple. I haven't read either of them, but they're pretty, so I keep them. But anyways, let's get on to the questions. The first requirement for a accomplished woman is music. So the prompt is my favorite literary musician, which can be either a fictional character or a real person, but they appear in a fiction book. And for this one, I'm going with the band The Starry-Eyed in The Sound of Stars, as well as The Kindred by Alechia Dow. They're not part of the same series, but they are set in the same world. And so the band The Starry-Eyed appears in both. They're a lot more prevalent in The Sound of Stars though, but they do make an appearance a couple times in The Kindred as well. I adore both of these books. Like, these are easily some of my favorite sci-fi that I've ever read, and like just in books in general, they are some of my favorites. I adore them. The next requirement for an accomplished woman is that she can sing, and so for this prompt we have to recommend a poetry collection. And for this one I'll be going with Catch Myself by Shawn. This one I think is a self-published book actually, but I found it in a little like crystal tarot shop in a small town close to where my parents live. Just like a random small town. I just saw it there and I couldn't say no to it. I don't read much poetry, but this is definitely one of my favorites. It's like really short, and like they're all like the really short kind of poems. Like none of them are very long, which I love. I love these like really tiny ones. It's also signed too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is my poetry recommendation. The third requirement is drawing. So to share a book with a beautiful cover, I have to go with Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I am obsessed with this cover. This shade of pink is one of my favorite colors. I used to hate pink. I like rejected anything that was like feminine when I was younger, but like I just adore this shade of pink so much. And then like underneath the dust jacket too is the same like dusty rose color with gold on it. It is just so pretty. It's so beautiful. I love it. Haven't read the book yet, but I'll get there eventually. Prompt number 4 is dancing, to share a book with a lively plot. For this one I'm going to go with The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. This one I read pretty recently, and there is so much going on in this book. Like there's that whole plot with the sea god and things happening. There's political stuff going on. There's a romance involved. There's a whole like found family element to it. It's a very fast-paced plot with like just tons of things happening all at once. I did do a full review for it on my channel, so I'll link that for you guys if you want to hear more thoughts on it. But yeah, this is definitely a very lively plot. The fifth requirement for a accomplished woman is modern languages. So we have to share our favorite translated work of fiction. I don't read a whole ton of translated books, but of the few that I have read, my favorite is definitely Battle Royale by Koushun Takami. I read this I think in like the 9th or 10th grade, and I still think about it to this day. I have reread this book, I'm not even sure how many times, but a couple at least. This one is a dystopian horror novel that takes place in a futuristic Japan, where every year the government chooses a random class in a random school, and those kids are forced to go to an island where they have to kill each other until there's one left standing. This book is brutal and bloody, but I love the characters in it so much. It was such a good book, and it's still one of my favorites to this day. There's also a manga series, and I think at least 2 movies, possibly 3. I'm not sure now, I forget. Prompt number 6 is something in her air and manner of walking. So we have to share a book with a strong atmosphere, and I'll be going with Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley-Doyle. This one I read a couple of years ago, and like Oh my god, I like honestly plot wise, no clue what happened. I forget the plot entirely now, but I remember the feeling of this book. The atmosphere of it is incredible. I know it takes place in a small town in Ireland where objects have been disappearing and randomly reappearing as a result of a spell that somebody cast that they didn't do properly. The magic in this book, like it feels so tangible. Reading this book, you can feel the magic in the air. It is just, it's so beautifully written. This is just such a magical book and the atmosphere is just wow. Prompt number 7 is the tone of her voice, her address, and expressions, and that's to share a book with beautiful writing. When I think of a book with beautiful writing, the first one that I think of has to be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is gorgeous. It is so beautifully written. This one easily could have gone for the atmospheric prompt as well, but I'm obsessed with the writing of this book. This one, the plot's hard to explain, but basically it's a like traveling circus kind of thing. It's really hard to explain, but like there's some kind of like game happening between two people who like kind of run the circus and their wards who both have real magic, and they've been competing against each other for their entire lives. It was incredible, and the writing is definitely one of the best parts of it. Prompt number 8 is the improvement of her mind by extensive reading, which is to share my next read. So it is currently day 2 of Tome Topple. I have not started my tome yet because I am trying to finish up the 2 books that I was reading beforehand, and I also have some library books out right now that are due soon, so I had to read those ones as well. So I kind of have a couple here. My pick for Tome Topple is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I want to at least read this one, hopefully another one. But aside from this one for Tome Topple, I do also have to read Across a Field of Starlight by Delliquanti before it's due back at the library like next week. So both of these ones, oh, and I forgot actually, hang on. I also have out The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni as well that I have to return at the same time as this one. So these 3 books are my next reads that I'll be reading in the next week or so. Wish me luck. And finally, the last question is, would I be considered an accomplished person by the standards of Caroline Bingley and Mr. Darcy? Absolutely not. Just based on these questions here, I can't play any instruments, I can't sing, I can't draw, I can't dance, I only speak one language. I definitely do not have anything in my air and manner of walking. And then my tone of voice, my address, and my expressions, nah. No. So I do read a lot, but probably not the kinds of books that would make me an accomplished person according to them. I read fantasy and really fun books. So no, I don't meet any of the criteria to be an accomplished woman, including the woman part actually. So really none of the above. But that's fine with me. But anyways, that'll do it for today's video. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!